I get this question a lot. Is rind flour just ground pork rinds? And the simple answer is no. So in this video, I'll show you the process I developed to lessen that pork rind flavor and some tips and tricks along the way. In this video, I'm going to show you how I process these pork rinds into rind flour and use it to make everything from pizza to tamales, enchiladas, hard-shell tacos, tortillas, snacks, and even treats. Now in the past, I've used a NutriBullet, plus things like a rolling pin where I roll across the bag to break them up, or my heavy-duty meat tenderizer where I just play a quick game of whack-a-mole, or just squeeze them with my hands to make them smaller pieces to fit better in the NutriBullet. But in my years of cooking with pork rinds, I have to admit, my method of grinding pork rinds was very inefficient. Crushing your pork rinds prior did have its benefits. However, one of those was not efficiency. So instead, just place your whole pork rind into your NutriBullet canister, making sure you have no pork cracklings that made their way into your batch. Usually, you could spot them because they are darker in color, but this one's good. Have a bowl and sifter ready for the next step. Now, I could recommend a sifter on Amazon and make a whole 2 cents, but my 2 cents is the best option is to go to your local Dollar Tree and pick this amazing $1.25 sifter up. And it just happens to be perfect for rind flour because the screen size is just right, as you can see here. Now, whatever you do, do not try to use one of these fine strainers like you see here. They will not work. The larger holes help it because pork rinds, as we know, are a bit greasy. When grinding your pork rinds, several pulses from your blender or food processor should usually do the trick. It is important not to overmix. This will cause more oil to be released into your flour, as you can see here on the walls of my NutriBullet. It's also important to discard this greasy portion. Now, place your sifter over the bowl and add the ground pork rinds. Also, a time-saving tip is to do 2 batches at once. When you start sifting it, gently tap the mixture against your hand. Now, a bit later, I'll show you some common things you'll encounter while processing your ground pork rinds. But for now, take a look at this rind flour. It's super fine and much smoother than pork panko. Now, I assure you, once you get the hang of this, you'll be making rind flour in no time. But here is one thing you may run into. Notice how the oils from the pork rind are starting to clog up the holes. The simple solution to this is to just take your sifter and tap it firmly against the inside edge of your bowl. That should free up most of the holes. As for the larger pieces of pork rind, you can either regrind them for a finer texture or, like me, save them for a recipe that does not require rind flour. What would you use these more coarse pork rinds for? Let me know in the comments below. Now, here's an example of what I mentioned earlier. Keep an eye out for these harder pork rinds that may have slipped through your first inspection. Could you imagine this getting into your recipe? And look at this. Here's that greasy residue that got slung against the inside wall of your NutriBullet. And in the past, I used to add it into my rind flour because it was so fine. But this could be problematic due to the high oil content. So now I just discard it. Hopefully this video answers the question, what is rind flour? Because it's definitely not ground pork rinds. It's ultra fine meat flour. Guys, thanks so much for watching. And as always, I will see you in the next video.